Relative clauses. Clauses with or without who, that, which. The girl who I interviewed yesterday was very intelligent.
So have you appointed her?
She performed better than all the other candidates who I interviewed. She answered all questions that I asked brilliantly.
Then you don't need to hold any more interviews. Do guide me on the process which you followed.
I will surely help you. In the dialogues, Shraddha and Anup have used relative clauses with or without who, that, which to express themselves. Here are examples of sentences using relative clauses with who, that, which, and the same examples of relative clauses without who, that, which. The girl who I interviewed yesterday was very intelligent. The girl I interviewed yesterday was very intelligent. She performed better than all other candidates who I interviewed. She performed better than all other candidates I interviewed. She answered all questions that I asked brilliantly. She answered all questions I asked brilliantly. Do guide me on the process which you followed. Do guide me on the process you followed. Definition. A clause is a part of a sentence. A relative clause tells us which person or thing, or what kind of a person or thing the speaker means. You must use who, that, which when it is the subject of the relative clause. Sometimes who, that, which is the object of the verb. When who, that, which is the object, you can leave it out. Let us look at few sentences. The girl who my brother likes is extremely pretty. The girl my brother likes is extremely pretty. The book that I'm reading is very interesting. The book I'm reading is very interesting. I gifted the bed cover which I bought last week to my friend. I gifted the bed cover I bought last week to my friend. In the first sentence, who my brother likes is a relative clause. Who has been used here since we are speaking about people. Here who is the object of the verb, so it can also be left out in the clause as in the second sentence. In the third sentence, that I'm reading is a relative clause. That has been used here since we are speaking about what kind of a thing.
Before we move on to the next topic, please don't forget to like, share and subscribe.
Relative clauses, extra information clauses 2.
Kajal, to whom I spoke last night, showed much interest in our project.
What did she say?
She wanted to know more details.
Man, who she works for can provide us with requisite finances.
Also, the place to which she belongs is perfect for our project.
So, did you give her the details?
Fortunately, I had our project papers without which things could not have moved in our favor.
That is excellent news. In the dialogues, Shubham and Vani have used relative clauses which provide extra information to express themselves. Here are examples of sentences using relative clauses which give extra information. Kajal, to whom I spoke last night, showed much interest in our project. The man who she works can provide us with requisite finances. Also, the place to which she belongs is perfect for our project. Fortunately, I had our project papers, without which things could not have moved in our favor. Definition. A clause is a part of a sentence. A relative clause tells us which person or thing or what kind of a person or thing the speaker means. Some relative clauses gives us extra information. In extra information clauses, you can use a preposition before whom for people and which for things. So you can say to whom or with whom, about which or for which, etc. In spoken English, we often keep the preposition after the verb in the relative clause. When we do this, we normally use who, not whom, for people. We can say all of or most of, etc. plus whom or which. In the same way, you can say none of or neither of, or any of or either of plus whom, people. None of or neither of, or any of or either of, which, things. Some of or many of, much of, a few of, plus which, things. Some of or many of, or much of, or a few of, whom, people. Both of or half of, each of or one of or two of, etc. plus whom, people. Both of or half of plus each of plus one of or two of, etc. plus which, things. Let us look at a few sentences. Relative clauses, clauses with whose, whom, where. Yesterday I met a man whose car had broken down on the main road. Did you help him? I guided him to the garage where you got your car overhauled last week. That garage is very far away. You could also have sent him to the man whom we took our bike to when it broke down suddenly. Do you mean the man whose automobile repairing shop is just round the corner? Yes. I did not know he repaired cars too. I thought he repaired only bikes. In the dialogues, Tulika and Jasmeet have used relative clauses with whose, whom, where to express themselves. Here are examples of sentences using relative clauses with whose, whom, where. Yesterday I met a man whose car had broken down on the main road. I guided him to the garage where you got your car overhauled last week. You could also send him to the man whom we took our bike to when it broke down suddenly. Do you mean the man whose automobile repairing shop is just round the corner? Definition. A clause is a part of a sentence. A relative clause tells us which person or thing or what kind of a person or thing the speaker means. We use whose in relative clauses instead of his, her, their. We use whose mostly for people. Whom is possible instead of who when it is the object of the verb in the relative clause. You can also use whom with a preposition to whom, from whom, with whom, etc. But we do not often use whom. In spoken English, we usually prefer who or that or nothing. You can use where in a relative clause to talk about a place. Let us look at a few sentences. The name of the girl whose book I have borrowed is Linda. The man with whom she fell in love left her for someone else. I want to live in a city where there are good education facilities. In the first sentence, whose book I have borrowed is a relative clause. Whose has been used here since we are speaking about people and using it in place of her. In the second sentence, whom she fell in love is a relative clause. Whom is used here with the preposition with. In the third sentence, where there are good education facilities is a relative clause. ing and ed clauses. Have you seen anyone going down the road? Yes, I just saw a girl walking down this road. Did she take a taxi from that corner? Yes, and the taxi hired from that corner was white in color. I think the taxis moving on this road will go till the resort near the beach. Yes, you are right. In the dialogues, Tanvi and Vanya have used ing and ed clauses to express themselves. Here are examples of sentences using ing and ed clauses. Have you seen anyone going down the road? Yes, I just saw a girl walking down this road. Yes, and the taxi hired from that corner was white in color. I think the taxis moving on this road will go till the resort near the beach. Definition: a clause is a part of sentence. Some clauses begin with ing or ed. We use ing clauses to say what somebody or something is doing or was doing at a particular time. When you are talking about things and sometimes people, you can use an ing clause to say what something does all the time, not just at a particular time. Ed clauses have a passive meaning. Let us look at a few sentences. All the boys working in the library were given small gifts by the principal. Vehicles moving on this street are always struck in a jam. All the people involved in the accident were not seriously hurt. In the first sentence, working in the library is an ing relative clause as it tells what somebody is doing at a particular time. In the second sentence, moving on this street is again an ing relative clause as you can use an ing clause to say what something does all the time, not just at a particular time. In the third sentence, involved in the accident is an ed relative clause as it has a passive meaning. Here are few more examples of use of ing and ed clauses. The boys riding on those fast bikes met with an accident. The goods manufactured in her factory are of poor quality.